we should probably get into our podium topics.
Yeah.
We organized them bronze, silver, and gold, depending on what was the biggest sports story of the week. We've been off for 2 weeks because of the Christmas break, so it's more like the biggest sports stories of these last 2 weeks. But let's start it off with Russell. Russell, what's your biggest sports story of the week? Or sorry, your third biggest sports story of the week, your bronze medal podium topic.
Well, for me this week, my bronze podium topic this week is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who last week clinched their first playoff spot in 10 years, and they're gonna be hosting a playoff game in Jacksonville. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of those teams that haven't been able to fill up their home stadium in a while, but they sold out of their tickets for their home playoff game. And as a matter of fact, they're taking the tarps off the top of their stadium to free up 3,100 tickets.
Wow.
For their and over 67,000 tickets sold for the Jacksonville Jaguars' first home playoff game since the year 2000.
That's crazy.
So it's a good time to be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. I don't see them going far in the playoffs, but just the fact that they're actually there, it should be pretty important.
That's crazy. Couldn't even grow hair on my face the last time the Jags were in the playoffs.
Yeah, I actually remember one of the last times they were in the playoffs, they destroyed Dan Marino, the Dolphins-led team. They killed us.
Who's the quarterback of that Jaguars team?
Mark Brunell.
Oh my gosh! I remember playing with Mark Brunell on Madden.
And Jimmy Smith. It was like that was in the Tom Coughlin era. They haven't been good since essentially Tom Coughlin had them, but
Wow.
they had a couple. They had a couple people they signed like Malik Jackson. He actually, I believe he was the one who predicted that they would go to the Super Bowl this year, and everyone laughed at him. And
Yeah.
he looks pretty prescient right now. I think for Jacksonville Jaguar fans, they are essentially the Cleveland Browns South of the NFL. So this is
Until now.
This is a huge story. This is really the first time, essentially in their franchise history, where they have a team that might actually
Has a shot.
make a mark in the playoffs. Because their defense holds up.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think it's kind of funny that they're celebrating the fact that they're removing the tarps.
Right. It's crazy, but I mean, it's a big deal. Like, do you guys think this is not it's not gonna be something where it's just like a one and done? They host a game, they get beat in the playoffs this year, and then we don't hear from the Jags next year. Or do you see this as something that you think is gonna be a start of a new team that could be consistent in the playoffs over the next couple of years?
I think they can scare somebody because of but because of their quarterback situation, you never know what you're going to get out of their offense.
Exactly.
So that's probably the biggest thing holding them back from everybody. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show with our boy Jimmy G. He could have, if he had made it to Jackson, we're probably talking about sneaking up on somebody and even being a potential Super Bowl.
That could be a Super Bowl contending team. I agree. We'll get to that later. That's dope.
Yeah, I think Blake Bortles is really everyone. That's the elephant in the room. People know Blake Bortles. Like the coach even said, they asked him, "What's the optimal amount of times your quarterback would throw in a game?" And he said 0. He was like, "If the best opportunity for us to win is if Blake Bortles throws 0 times."
Yeah, and if you have an elite quarterback, you would never say something like that.
So I'll give the coach credit. He at least knows what he's talking about. but the problem is like they really could have any other quarterback, and I feel like the Minnesota Vikings are kind of in a similar situation where if they have this elite defense and they have a good offensive line, and they have skill position players that are serviceable and could get yards after the catch, but the quarterback is really the weak link.
Yeah.
And they're one of those teams, if they're up 10, they're okay. But if they're down and Blake Bortles needs to get you some points, they're in trouble.
The Jaguars cannot get down in the playoffs. They need some touchdowns on defense. They need to get ahead on the turnover ratio. All of that just to win a game because of their offensive situation.
And then look at when they got in an offensive shootout with Jimmy Garoppolo, he got his ass handed to him because that was the best he had done all year, and it was against a pretty inept 49ers defense, and he still only could put up, I think, less than 35, and so he is not capable. When you get into the playoffs, you're going against some elite quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers once lost to Kurt Warner because he only put up like 49 in a game.
Yeah.
This is not something Blake Bortles is capable of dealing with, and they're not going to last long in the playoffs because of it. The one thing that you could say is maybe they're going to be like the Giants, or where their defense beats up people and they keep it low scoring, but his turnover ratio is not. It's okay this year, but historically it's been pretty bad, and that's usually he'll lose you the game with a costly turnover.
That's true. It's good.
So, do you have anything you want to end on saying with this topic, Russell?
No, that's it. I think we covered everything.